What's up? Hello, YouTube Live friends. This is actually our first time going live on YouTube. So we have no idea if this is working. But it looks like it is. I can actually see us on YouTube, so that's good.
That's
And it
exciting.
looks like we've got a few people on right now. So hopefully you guys can hear us. Hopefully you guys can see us. And hopefully you guys are super excited to learn about the 5 top online business myths that are basically keeping you broke and preventing you from getting your message out to the world. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. You guys might have caught us on Instagram last week, but we wanted to do this on YouTube again just to, I don't know, test it out, try something different, be innovative, right?
Sure.
Sure.
And keep it, because we didn't record it last time because we're Muppets and we didn't toggle the correct tab. So here's your first lesson. Toggle the tab to save the video. So yeah, that's why we do it too.
Yeah, we fucked that up, but that's okay. That's why we're here. And this is definitely being recorded, so we're all good with that. And yeah, so what kind of inspired us to do this video is actually the fact that we've been talking to a lot of health coaches lately as we enroll some people into our 360 mastermind, which is our year-long business coaching program for health coaches. And we still do actually have one spot open, but that's not what this video is about. We're going to tell you more about that later. But definitely contact us if you're interested. But what sort of inspired this is like all the kind of enrollment calls we've been having and just hearing everything people have been told that they need to do to grow their business and market their business. And a lot of it, like there's some good stuff in there, but there was a lot of bad stuff.
Yes.
A lot of bad stuff.
And we can just say bad because usually, we're very much, it's not all black and white, but boy, yeah, hell yeah, there's like plainly bad advice there. When Kendra reported back to me what she heard, I was just like mind blown. How is this still happening in internet land? This was 2000 basically, it's like eons ago. So to do everyone a favor out, especially those of you who are a little bit more new in the online space and who want to take place in, have your seat at the table on the online business world, which is totally lucrative and can totally work. I think this is just to really help you save tons of money and just make it work a lot quicker. So here is our first myth. And Kendra, you have the list, so you have to help me out here.
Okay, I have the list. Okay, so this one is actually one that I heard a lot, and it was that all you need to grow an audience is an ads budget. There's a lot of marketers that are pushing running ads to grow your following, and this is not us telling us that we don't agree with ads. I actually run ads. Ads are a tool. But when you're new and starting out, I just don't think it's a good place to start. I think you need to start organic because ads are really fucking expensive. Like I'm spending, especially right now at this time of year, because it's the 4th quadrant of the year. It's Christmas time, right? We just had Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Everyone is marketing. And so like I was spending, like I've upped my budget to over $100 a day. And that's a lot of money. And that barely competes with the other people in the auction, right? So it's just like, until you have a proven method, until you know who you're talking to, and like you have a program that you've proven, you've gotten testimonials, you've gotten people results, ads are not really a place to go. And just because you maybe do have a budget for ads, maybe you've got a bunch of money from somewhere else because you did well in your corporate job or something, it still doesn't mean that those ads are actually going to lead to a good audience, right, Christine?
Totally. It's literally, if you haven't proven yourself organically, running ads is like taking a $50 bill and just throwing it down the toilet. And it might be harsh. And again, it's not an anti-ads bashing. It's the philosophy of thinking that ad is the magic bullet to sell your product. Because you might think that you have invented the next kind of Spanx or whatever, but in fact, it doesn't resonate with your audience. It's actually a product that doesn't quite work. And believe us, we have tried. Like, we're not just making this stuff up. Kendra has launched a gazillion times. I've launched a gazillion times to crickets. And the reason why it was crickets is because we didn't test it out. We didn't actually organically test it out. We threw money at it. and it didn't work. So we learned different lessons from this. So we know now the do's and don'ts of the ads industry, and we teach that in our mastermind. But the essence of it is that if anyone tells you that ads is going to change your life and that you just fork over $5,000 or something like that, and it's going to, your ROI is going to be triple on that, it's just not true. Especially if you've never done it before, if you don't have an audience, it's lies. I'm very sorry to say it bluntly like that, but we've just both been there and it's not working. So please, 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 please do not start with ads. Like, don't create a course and run a gazillion ads through it and think that this is going to, you know, be the next 100K for 2020. It's going to be very heartbreaking and disappointing. So what we recommend doing is really create. Yes, create. Don't overthink it. Test it out with the people you have. If you only have 10 people, if nobody buys, just ask yourself a question, you know. And if you have 100 people, if you have more, obviously the chances are bigger the more people you have. But if there's not even a little bit of interest in there, something's iffy, you know. So really fine tune it until people really want to get a hold of it. And then, sure, start running ads, start experimenting. But it should never, never, ever be your first step, ever.
Yeah, totally agree. And, you know, I've done the same thing. I remember my first course, you know, I had this coach and they're like, oh yeah, like you just need to spend like this much money on ads, like to the webinar. And like, you know, she kept convincing me to up my ads budget. And she's like, it's okay. Like I had a client do this, like I have clients do this all the time, like 15 to 30K launches. And I didn't sell any. I sold like 2 spots. Like I lost money on 4 launches with that method. And what I realized is that I just, like, I hadn't tested the product. It wasn't actually what people wanted. And it didn't matter that I could get 300 people on a webinar. I still couldn't sell to them because they weren't warmed up enough, right?
Exactly. And you will probably get leads, but they're not necessarily qualified leads. And it doesn't mean that it's going to convert to your product. So there's a big, how do you say, discrepancy between those leads you're getting and what you're selling. So please do yourself a favor and try it out. Make sure you speak in a voice that is you, that is authentically you, so that the people who connect with you actually know what they are getting and are not suddenly thinking, you know, you reading off a script and then suddenly switching personas when you're actually being yourself is just throwing them off. And it's just like, nope, I'm not going to give that person my money because I don't even know who they really are. People know that immediately. Like, it doesn't make sense. You might think that it makes sense, but it doesn't. So that was our first one.
Yeah. And it's a good one. And it's actually like finding your own like authentic voice is something that we actually are teaching in our program, because it's really, really important that you speak with your own words and not someone else's, but it's not always as easy as just doing it, right? Okay.
For sure.
All right. So number 2, this one I heard like actually before we were launching our mastermind, but it just like, it stuck in my head like a sliver and kind of just like irritated me. It's just a numbers game. And I actually hate that for so many reasons, because first off, like you're talking, when you say it's just a numbers game and you're just concerned about numbers, like you forget that what we're doing is actually talking to humans, right? Like, yeah, we're talking to our phones and our computer screens, but on the other end of that are real humans with emotions, with feelings, with like hopes, with dreams. Like these are people. And so that pisses me off. First off, like just the whole, like, it's a numbers game. Well, no, it's humans. Like what the hell, you know?
Exactly. And I do think, you know, we need to precise that it does make a difference whether you sell a journal or washing powder versus what we usually sell, which is health or personal development or changing lives, basically. You know, I do think there is a difference between that. But yeah, if you are in a coaching kind of role or a service provider, that does not work and people see right through it.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, we have to make a distinction between like an influencer and a business owner, right? Like influencers are popular people on Instagram, right? Who have a ton of followers, but just because they have hundreds of thousands of followers doesn't mean they actually make any money or know anything about that audience. Numbers actually don't matter, especially today. And me and Christine were at Social Media Marketing World in March. And that's what, like, all the top marketing experts in the world were all there. And like every single talk we saw really came back down to, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. It's actually about building relationships with your audience, getting to know them, connecting, that sort of thing. And you don't need many people in your following to actually have a successful business. Like me and Christine do not have big followings on any
No.
respect. In terms
No.
of email, social following, like we don't have much people, but we have successful businesses. And it's because we've really focused on the quality of those relationships. Numbers just feed your ego, right? And we all do it. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I had more followers, and I get in that like ego mindset, but I have to check myself and be like, it doesn't matter. You know,
Exactly.
Like, I
And I
don't
think
need numbers if they're not the right people.
exactly. And I think what also people think is numbers and speed. You know, you need to get as many people as quickly as possible so that you have more many people to shout at in a way. I do want to get more people. I haven't focused on it at all. It's like really not my thing. For 2020, I am going to focus on it, but I'm not expecting to have a gazillion followers or gazillion new subscribers, because the way that I want to do it is that I really just have people who connect with me. And actually, coming back to social media examiner world, the conference, you were in a room with people who are advising or consulting the big corporations on who to hire as influencers. And they basically said to stay away from people who have super huge numbers, because especially after the whole Fire Festival debacle, it's just become clear that that's not the way that it is. So it's not about the huge numbers game. It's about having the people that are truly invested in you, and people stalk for a long time. Like it just takes them a long time. And Kendra uses these beautiful examples regularly. It's like, even if you have like people are like, oh, I only had like 14 people tune in at my Instagram live. It's like, hang on a minute. This is like having 14 people in your living room who are actually taking time out of their day to listen to you. That's huge. How dare you be as rude and to dismiss them? That's just fucking rude. You don't do that, man. You know, it's like, it pisses me off. So, yeah, you can see we're very passionate about this.
We're very passionate. Yeah, and I love that. And it's so true, because like it doesn't matter. Like if you have 14 people following you, imagine one of those people could become your client. And if you're charging properly, that's like your money for the next month, and you're good. And then you get to help that person and like do what you really want to be here to do, which is help people, right? So we have to be really grateful for all the people who do follow us. Like, you know, right now we have 6 people on with us live, and we are grateful for every single one of you. And we're not like, oh, only 6 people are watching us. We're like, wow, 6 people are hanging out with us. It's so cool.
Thanks. You are amazing, guys.
Yeah. We love you. Okay, so that's number 2. And then number 3, this is one that I actually had never heard before. And I was like, sorry, say that again? What? Say that again? And one of our health coaches was told that content doesn't matter, and there's no point in putting any of it out there.
Oh my God. I don't even know where to start with that one. Like, seriously, how the hell are people supposed to find you then? Like, if you don't create content, I don't know if this person maybe doesn't understand what content actually is, not sure. Yeah. But I mean, if you don't create content, it means that you don't exist in a way. How are people supposed to find you? How are people, yes, maybe you only have a referral business, which works if you're very local, maybe sometimes in the online space because it's a small bubble in a way, but we all want to have as many leads as possible that want to work with us because they know who we are and what we do. And personally, all my business, pretty much 90% comes from Google. I never pay a cent, but it's because I am consistent in creating content. That doesn't mean that I work nonstop on creating, not at all. I'm a lazy person. I don't do a lot of work, but I do have a content flow system where I can batch things. I work 1 day a week, not even half a day, maybe not even like 2 hours once every month. And everything is batched out for the next 2 months, you know. So there's smart ways of doing it, but the ROI on that is invaluable. And especially if you're starting out, you don't want to throw money down the drain. It's just not smart, and you don't have any most of the time. So it's just content is the cheapest way of getting authority, of people finding you. And it's just, you want to share your wisdom. Why the hell are you in business if you don't even want to have people know what you know? You know, I don't get it. I don't understand.
I know. Well, I can't even keep my mouth shut. Like I'm sharing content because I just like, I'm so passionate about what I do, and I'm just always so excited to teach, right? And you know, the thing is there's so many people out there providing so much value. So if you're not out there creating content and sharing your wisdom and value, then like, how are you going to stand out? Plus, like, how are people going to trust you, right? Like, that's like the trust game. That's how people get to know you, your personality, your voice, how you talk. Like, what you offer. And ultimately, like, I think that's why people buy from you, has more to do with their connection to you as a person rather than how good your product is, right? And so if you're not out there sharing your knowledge and your personality and your content and giving them value, like, I don't even understand, like, the only way in my brain that this could work is having an extraordinarily high ads budget, right? Like being able to spend like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month to pull people into a funnel that provides value, and but there's still content in that funnel. So that's where I'm kind of like stuck on this one, you know, like, and that would be crazy. Like you would have to be spending like $20K a month on ads to bring people in like that and have it be worthwhile.
I agree. And the other thing is, for me, it's a very scarce mindset, because it tells me that a person doesn't want, like, don't tell them everything or they won't buy from you. Bullshit. People will always buy from you if they like you and if they need you. It's like the advice that you're going to give them in your bespoke programs, it's always going to be different from what you give in your blog post. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be very generous in your blog post, though. And I have more often than not people who cannot afford to work with me. If they really do their due diligence, find pretty much everything I do on my blog, and I'm totally fine with that, you know? So it's like, meh.
Yeah, and I think something to keep in mind, you know, I think people get confused with like free content versus paid content. I mean, in my opinion, you just give away everything for free, because in the end, everyone can find anything they want to know on Google or YouTube for free. That is the reality. But why do they invest in you? Well, because you've organized it in a very nice way so that it's like they can work through it in small chunks, step by step. They probably get access to you through some sort of support, through one-on-one, through a Facebook group, whatever. And like that support with implementation and working through like with an actual human, I mean, that's what people pay for.
That's what they pay.
You can't get that. You can't just find that on Google. You can't get like human interaction, support, and community just by, you know, on YouTube, right? Like you actually have to invest in something like that. So I just think like, like you could probably find every single thing I teach. I probably said it at one point or another, you know, like go through my IGTV channel. It's a fucking goldmine, but like, you know, like it's all over the place, right? So, and if you want to spend like hundreds of hours doing that, then all the power to you. I've done a lot of things that way just by consuming free content, but you know, a lot of your clients, like they just want you to tell them what to do, right? Anyways,
agreed.
I know we all have blocks around content. I think like content creation and feeling inspired to write content, it's a big source of stress and overwhelm for coaches. So I think we'd love to believe that we don't need it.
But that's bullshit. Like, bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit. Okay, so that's number 3. This next one might surprise you guys, but it's like BS-ish. But in some states it's true. But anyways, so online courses are the best business model. So this is a tough one, because like you guys probably know that I have courses and I actually love the course model, and I do think it's a great business model. But I think where coaches go wrong with this is where they start. And just because people are out there making money and creating like, you know, businesses based on courses, that's usually not where they started, and it's not a good place to start. What are your thoughts, Christine?
No, absolutely. I think it's like, I think the reason why a lot of people believe it is because they see that I had a gazillion billion dollar launch, or what do I know, 750K launch with my course. And coaches who have done that are then teaching that course. But what they don't teach you is all the fails and tries that it took them before that, and all the private clients they worked with one-on-one to figure out what they should actually put into their course. And I think that is what makes your course fail. It's because you don't actually have the experience of working with your private clients, so you don't have their language, you don't exactly know what their questions are, you can guess, but again, you have no fucking clue until you actually talk to them and you actually have the experience. You might think you do, but I promise you, you don't. And it's only after getting that and hearing it over and over and explaining the same thing over and over that you will be able to pinpoint what it actually is that you should put into that course. Otherwise, it's just guessing. And most of the time, it goes wrong. Like, I honestly don't know anyone who sold their first course out and was successful with it. It's just, I really don't know anyone with it. However, if you do have that, if you've been in practice for quite a while, if you know you've got it down, it can be a very lucrative model. Again, though, courses, you will have a certain amount that you can charge. You will need a lot more people to buy your course than going one-on-one. So starting out with that is very frustrating, because you will need to put in the same effort to sell, believe me, but the revenue that you're getting is much smaller. So it takes you a lot more effort in a way until you have that loyal following, and you will never get that loyal following just from launching one course after the next straight from the gate. You will actually have to create content, you have to take that time to build that following, and then sure, it should be a fucking gold mile. And the more you launch it, the more experience you get. But starting with it is ridiculous. The content is most likely not going to be what people want to hear. And it takes a lot of effort. So focus on high or well-priced one-on-one perfection, what you can do, or not perfectionist. I'm not a perfectionist, but really hone down on your skill. Get paid what you're worth. It's just so difficult for first people. Start off with that. And then we can talk about courses. It's just the order of things.
Yeah, I agree. I think, wanting to do a course or group program is a great goal. Like, we all want to scale up, and at some point, one-to-one, like, we kind of top out with income, with the amount of people we can take on, and we burn out too. So I think like moving to a group program, going to a course model is great, but you can't start with it, like Christine said, because until you have actually gotten real results for real people and you've gained testimonials, you can't sit there on social media and promise people that you can get them the result with that course if you've never actually gotten a result for a human, right? Because literally you're talking out of your ass, and it's inauthentic, and it's and it's not cool. And so I get it. Like, some people are like, well, I just don't really want to do the one-on-one, and I get it that it doesn't have to be your forever business model, but you have to put the groundwork in. And Christine's right. Like, it does take a lot of energy to sell like a lower price program. And if you have a small following, like, it's going to be, you could literally make everything in one course launch that you make with like one client, right?
Yes.
So,
it's happened.
I talk a lot about this on my YouTube channel. I actually have a course coming out about group programs that basically like teaches you exactly how to do this, in what order, and how to basically prove and validate your course before you even sell it. Which there's a really great way to do this. I did this with my HTML expert course, and we'll be talking about this in the mastermind as well. But like, it's just, you can lose a lot of money. And I think the big disconnect goes with this is like, what people need and what they actually want sometimes are two entirely different things. And ultimately, you may know what they need, but you got to dangle them in with what they want. And you don't know what they want until you talk to real humans.
Exactly. And I think that experience leaves a lot of people drained, burned out, and in the end, unfortunately, leaving their business or, just giving it up in the end. There's so many people who give up every year, and it's a shame. And it's just because you have to do the due diligence first. Yeah, just what it is.
Just the way it is. Sorry, guys. Sorry. All right. Okay. So this is our last one, number 5. So this one, I have like 2 points for this one. So maybe this is like a 2.1, but I have all coaches are the same, and you can do this alone, and all marketing strategies and advice work for every business.
This one gets me. This makes my blood boil. Like, seriously, people who, like, get yourself in a scenario where you are on a sales call or free session or whatever they want to call it. A preliminary session is for me, but with a coach. And if they tell you that they can guarantee you results and that their method works for everyone, run for the fucking hills, because that's not how it works. It's just different coaches, especially business coaches, have experience with a certain type of person. I find that selling health is a completely different animal than selling copy or sales or business coaching itself. It's just very, very different. And if you haven't built a business in a certain area, especially an area like healthful services or personal development, you have no fucking clue what it's like, because people are very different in their thinking on how they spend money. And I see lots of people yelling at me, this is not true, the psychology for everyone is the same. No, it's not. We prioritize very differently. We just look at different elements that we purchase in a different way. So there are some fundamental truths, yes, of persuasion and so forth, but there's a lot of individuality to it too. And so having people say that I can help you no matter what you are trying to sell is just not true. And so I would really, really be wary of this. And it's just not fair, because very often those people are very skilled in selling, and selling money. And in the end, you as a coach want to make money. So you are the perfect sales target for them. So their strategy works wonders on you. And you will be like, wow, they sold me so greatly. They must be able to help me sell my clients. No, unfortunately, that's not true.
Yeah. And, you know, I think with health and wellness, like, you know, people's health is so personal. And I do think there's a longer touch point, like from when people find you to when they eventually invest in you. I think that is a much longer period. I think a lot more groundwork has to go in, a lot more like investing in building those relationships. I think that's true for most industries, and that's kind of the way things are headed in terms of coaching. But for health and wellness, I think it's longer for a lot of people, you know?
It can be longer, and I think it can also, a lot of it depends on how you are as a person. I think the personal development bit on yourself is maybe even harder, because people are much more sensitive as to who they work with. So either it takes longer, or they instantly need to connect with the real you. And being the real you in the online space publicly is fucking scary. It takes time to get there. So I think there's two different ways of looking at it, because most people who work with me, they just Google me, they book a call, and they hire me. They haven't actually looked me up before. So, but I think it is because they immediately see who I am, and either the shoe fits or it doesn't. It's just like,
you've also really leveraged like media and publications. Like, I think you have like major street cred because you have done the work to be featured in things like Forbes and National Geographic and podcasts. So it's like people see, they see everywhere you've been featured, and how you're like all these other industries like experts or like brands experts. So they're like in, right? They're like, this chick knows her shit. But you did a lot of work to set that up. Now, I don't have anything like that. So for my people, like I have to spend a few months nurturing people, and I'm fine with that, because I like to just jam out and chat with people. So, you know, it all comes down to the type of business model you have. But like the reason I think you have a lower touch point is because you've really built your credibility, and that didn't happen overnight.
No, it didn't. It really didn't. Yeah. And it's just a different way of doing it. You know, it's just a different animal, people. And then the other thing is, you can't do it alone. It's very true. Like, I mean, being in business it's the best thing in the world, but it is tough, because it's not just about, first of all, you provide a service. You have continuous education. You have to build a fucking business, which means marketing, accounting, everything. You do the whole 9 yards. You change. Ultimately, if you want to be a great business person, you need to be able to be actually in love with yourself in a way, not in a narcissistic kind of thing, but that takes a lot of work. And so you change, your environment changes. And doing that on your own is going to drive you insane. You need a support network that you can vent to, that will help you to see your blind spots, that can support you when you need it, when you are about to give up because something fucked up happened. And it's just crucial to have that. I think on your own, you're going to burn out. You're not going to believe in yourself at some point. And it's not major, but sometimes it's just one person that you know telling you, I believe in you, I know you can do this, I don't have a doubt about it. You just need yourself, see yourself through somebody else's eyes in order to get back up and get going. And it will all come together, you know. It's just, but you need that, and you need other people's experiences to fast track, because you're reinventing the wheel with a lot of pain instead of just learning from experiences that have been had.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, I don't know where I heard this. I consume so much. I'm like a monster consumer of content. So I hear a lot of things and I forget where I heard them. But I remember hearing someone on a podcast be like, building a business is the biggest course in personal development that you will ever do. And I totally agree, because your business triggers you and it brings out your insecurities, your past traumas. Like, it brings out a lot, and you don't even realize that when you're starting out. Like, I had no idea. And when a lot of the coaches I've been working with over the past little while, like, they actually have all the tools they need to succeed, but a lot of them are just standing in their own way, right? They are blocked, and they don't even realize that, like, they are telling themselves certain stories about like what people can afford and what they can't afford, and like what they're worth charging, and like what people think of them online. And it's just like, no, like, this is actually not true. So that's why, like, we wanted to create the 360 Mastermind, our year-long business coaching program, specifically for health coaches, because we have built successful health coaching businesses, and I really believe if you're going to invest in a coach, it should be someone who's done what you have done. Okay. And you know, Christine is still doing health coaching. I'm sort of like, that side of my business is slowly going away, but like I was doing that up until like a couple months ago, and Christine still does it. So like we you know, we know what we're talking about in terms of building a business online. And we really wanted to cultivate a small and intimate group. So we're going to be 12 plus us, so I guess 14 total, to just really be able to support coaches, right? And really have that whole year to help them work through all the personal shit, help them see their blocks, help them like get more confidence, learn to speak with their own voice, and like build a personal brand, right? But also like, you know, all the nerdy strategy stuff, like learn how to sell, learn how to attract, learn how to utilize social media, you know, and also like get out there and like do things with integrity and authenticity. Like you don't have to be the bro marketing health coach who's out there just like pushing and like punching your way through, because sure, you can make money that way, but I just feel for health coaches, like the money is just a small part of what we actually want to be doing. We got in this to help people. Like we want to help people. Ultimately, we have a bigger purpose. And if we're just taking people's money and being done with it at the end of the day, like I actually think that's going to make you feel dead inside.
Agreed. Amen. And I also think, you know, we've been in this game for a while. We've seen like tragedies happen in terms of, we just see through a lot of shit. Like if I see the sentence, I help you be the best version of yourself one more time, I'm just going to throw up. You know, it's just like, dude, nobody's going to spend money on being the best version of themselves. It's not a sexy sales point, you know? So sure, like use it at some point, but don't. Last
time you were like, Kendra, I want to be the best version of myself today. I'm like, I'm
like,
did you take mushrooms? Like what's going on?
No, and it's just tragic, you know, so, you know, and I mean, we've all been there. It's just what comes to mind. And again, it's just working with people that you understand what they need. But the thing is, we've worked with these people, like we know how they speak. So it's just an amazing shortcut. So for us, the 360 is a 360. It's a holistic view. And it's also really our goal to have 2020 be the year where the people who have trusted us and have signed up are literally going to be able to do this full time and have the great living. I mean, that's our goal. It's just to be able to say, okay, you're making this amount each month. This is your job. Instead of saying, I might have to go back to a real job, it's going to be a proud, this is my fucking real job. I'm living the life and it's working. And that's what we want. It's fab.
Totally. We just like, we want to help you build your dream life, like whatever that looks like for you. You know, whether that's working one-on-one, whether it's eventually launching a group program, whether that means having 4 hours for a morning routine in the morning, which is my life. That's how much time I need to be ready to like show up as, you know, authentically as myself. So basically with the program, we start in January. We actually only have one spot left. We thought we told everyone we sold out. And then I was like, did the numbers. And I was like, I totally miscounted. We actually have one spot left.
Don't worry. We do have assistants who are our logical brains and who are actually doing the stuff for us usually. So
totally. Because counting, not my strong point, but
me neither, you know, I'm just like, sure. No, we're very good in our zones of geniuses, but we also really know what we don't do well, counting one thing being the monster.
And we have like so many good things planned for the mastermind. We're gonna like meet monthly for a training. We're gonna do group coaching, and you're gonna have private mentorship as well. And then we do 2 live in-person retreats at a beautiful resort in Colorado Springs in March and November, right? So we're gonna be basically meeting 3 times a month, supporting you in 3 different ways. Plus, you will have access to us all year long, and we're just gonna help you. If you do the work, I have no doubt you'll get the result, right?
No doubt at all.
So I just threw that link into the chat box, and I'll throw it maybe into the description of this video after we've gone live. But yeah, you can go to that link and you can book a call with us and just see, like, does it feel like a fit? We're really committed to finding the right people. I've actually turned people away who I just didn't think were going to get the value out of it, either because they weren't ready or because they were actually too far along in their business. We actually turned one woman away because she was, outside the group. Everyone's kind of in that like 1 to 3 years in their business, struggling to like make ends meet, but also very passionate, very talented. But we had one woman who was just like multiple 6 figures and beyond. And I was like, I just don't think it's the fit. So like, we're not going to try to sell you if we don't feel like we can help you and it's a fit. So this is kind of like a no pressure, like call with me or Christine, just to chat and see how it feels. Anyways, that's our spiel.
All right, so I think that's it. Let us know if you enjoyed this, if you want more of this, and then obviously tune into our podcast as well, the 360 Have This podcast, which is amazing. There's so much content in there, and it's just, we would love to have you.
Yeah, totally. And thanks so much, Christine, for hanging out with me. And bye, everyone. Love you all.
Bye. Thanks for watching.
Bye.